Southern for tired mouth.
Okay.
And what he would do is he would say, Donnie, let's play tired mouth. Oh, he said, I'm going to sit over here on this side of the couch. I got my paper. You sit on that side of the couch, and whoever talks first loses. And every couple of minutes, I'd sit there waiting for him to talk, and every couple of minutes he'd go, I'd sit there for 45 fucking minutes. This guy was just reading the paper, but I didn't know that. He taught me head rock. Head rock was a Donnie. I want you to go out there in the yard. I want you to grab one of those concrete stones. I want you to throw it as high as you can in the air and see if you can catch it with your head. Now, I'd like to believe that he understood that if I was looking at the rock, my vision couldn't possibly line up and I'd always miss myself, but I really don't trust that that was the case. I just think it was a way to get me out of the house, you know. And my favorite one was, he used to this fucking all the time, and I never caught on. And it's either because I'm stupid or I'm just a whore for the laugh, was he would get everybody in the house and say, when Donnie walks in, everybody laugh like he did something funny. And I'd walk in it's coming in, and everybody, laughing is so funny. And I had no idea. So I would go back out and come back in exactly the same way to see if I got the same reaction. I do this 10 times till they were all laughing so fucking hard at that I was such a rube, and I bought it that, this is my grandfather. And my grandfather, he died when I was 13. He died 4 days after Elvis died. I remember that because my mom's a big Elvis fan, and that was a huge day in our household. And I didn't go to the funeral. The thing I remember was the stories about my grandfather's death is that he had 5 massive heart attacks in 2 hours. He'd have the heart attack and they'd revive him. And he'd have another fucking heart attack and they'd revive him. And he was fucking, I don't know if he was fighting to die or fighting to live. If you knew my grandma, it could have gone either way. But, he was this mess. And I didn't go to the funeral, and I've never been to a funeral in my life as a result. I figure I didn't go to my grandfather's funeral. I don't really need to go to anybody else's. And the thing that has stuck with me is my grandfather really was my one sort of model of what manhood was. And so, consequently, in 2008, I'm a little bit stuck in the 30s. I have a very skewed view of patriotism because he was a little bit of an anarchist in spite of his being in the Patton's Army. I have a weird fucking sense of humor, and a mean one. A little bit mean. My wife says that if somebody's not getting hurt, it ain't funny to me. And she's right, it's just sort of the thing. And one of the things that I always remember my grandfather did was I think it was when I was 9, he bought me a tape recorder, and this was one of those big-ass tape recorders, those big cassette recorders, and we did Man on the Street interviews. And Man on the Street interviews, I would just go and say, hi, this is Don Hall, and I'm on the street, and I'm here with Jay Bowen, the smartest man in the world. And he was completely, I know this now, at the time I didn't think too much about it, he was drunk out of his fucking mind. He would just slam it down and then just spin the yarns. And I remember one of the things he said is I said, you're the smartest man in the world, Mr. Bowen. How do you compare to the Magi, the wise men? He says, well, son, let me tell you. A wise man gets on the back of an ass and rides for 3 days to see a baby that might be God. Smart men don't do that. And that was my grandfather's sense of humor. That was Grandpa, And one of the things that he had, and he was a big fan of Westerns and a big fan of Gene Autry. And if you've never seen a Gene Autry film, you're not missing much, really. He was the singing cowboy, And this is Gene Autry's cowboy code. This is for real. This is really Gene Autry's cowboy code. 1, the cowboy must never shoot first, hit a smaller man, or take unfair advantage. 2, he must never go back on his word or a trust confided in him. 3, he must always tell the truth. 4, he must be gentle with children, the elderly, and animals. 5, he must not advocate or possess racially or religiously intolerant ideas. 6, he must help people in distress. 7, must be a good worker. 8, he must keep himself clean in thought, speech, action, and personal habits. 9, he must respect women, parents, and his nation's laws. And 10, the cowboy is a patriot. Every now and again, I read this and realize that there's a couple of them I'm not even fucking close. Nation's laws. Give me a fucking break. Clean in thought, speech, and action? No, that's not going to happen. Every now and again I have to look at number 6 and say, wow, I really should have given that homeless guy $1 because I need to help people in distress. But I always thought that was kind of an interesting thing because this is the cowboy, and it's sort of a definition of what manhood is. But as you read it, and as I read it, I realize that it really isn't about being a man. It's just about being a good person, or maybe an upright person, or a solid person. So what, besides the cock and balls, separates the man from woman, and what separates them? And I look around and I think to myself, well, okay, so let's look at manly men. And I realize that most of the manly men that I know are boys. And it's not about embracing childish things. It's not about playing video games. It's not about the way they dress. It's about the things they have not learned in their journey. And I've come to the conclusion, for myself at least, that being grown up and being a man is not so much about the things that you leave behind, but the things you gain in the journey. A perspective on life, an ability to say, wow, been there, done that, and it's really not worth the effort. A perspective on relationships and what relationships are worth. When I was a kid, man, I had a fucking billion friends. I think I may have 5 now, and I'm fine with that because I learned to distinguish what a friend was from someone that is friendly and that I like. Different things. I wouldn't give a kidney to everybody I know, even if I really think they're cool, and just be honest, you look at the 70s, this I have to read. You look at the 70s, the archetypes of manhood were as diverse as the dancing John Travolta, the sensitive Phil Donahue, the heroic Han Solo, and the homicidal Travis Bickle. All archetypes of manhood. The 80s gave us the greedy Gorgon Gecko, and the chipping away at the warrior persona the Army had proliferated since even World War II. The 1990s offered the ultimate male role model for men of my generation, Bill Clinton, an intelligent, kind-hearted, sensitive, ambitious, and self-interested womanizer. I still love me some Bill. But let's be frank about it, He fucked around with just anything that moved. I don't know if that's a good role model for manhood. So I look around and I think, what makes a man? And as I think about it, I realize my grandfather did give me a clue. He left me his favorite poem. And to this day, it is my absolute favorite poem. It's really simple. It's in couplet format. It rhymes. Sorry. It's not edgy in any fucking way at all. But it sums up to me what I want to be when I'm a man, and what I think any good person should be. But I just really like it, so I'm going to read it to you. By Edmund Vance Cook. It's called How Did You Die? Did you tackle that trouble that came your way with a resolute heart and cheerful, or hide your face from the light of day with a craven soul and fearful? Oh, a trouble's a ton, or a trouble's an ounce, or trouble is what you make it. And it isn't the fact that you're hurt that counts, but only how did you take it. You are beaten to earth? Well, what's that? Come up with a smiling face. It's nothing against you to fall down flat, but to lie there, that's disgrace. The harder you're thrown, why, the higher you bounce. Be proud of your blackened eye. It isn't the fact that you're licked that counts, it's how did you fight and why. And though you be done to death, what then? If you battled the best you could, if you played your part in the world of men, why, the critic will call it good. Death comes with a crawl or comes with a pounce, and whether he's slow or spry, it isn't the fact that you're dead that counts, but only how did you die. Thank you.